Welcome back to the Parsha link. Typically, Haftorah highlights one, maybe two themes of a Parsha and amplifies it or gives it some sort of redemptive spin. The Haftorah for Parshat Vayera is unique in that there is a multiplicity of links between the Parsha and the Haftorah. In our shir this morning, we uncovered 7 or 8, and for now, I'm going to just touch on maybe 3 or 4 of those connections. Just a quick review of the narratives, the many narratives of Parshat Vayera. The opening scene, Abraham greets the angels, gives them bread to eat. They tell him of the news of Yitzchak being born and conceived and born even at their old age. Yitzchak is then born later on in the Parsha, and the Akedah takes place. I skipped over a few, but I'm highlighting some of the stories that will become relevant as we compare the Parsha to the Haftorah, which is taken from Melachim Bet. We have a little break from Yeshayahu. It's from the 4th parak of Melachim Bet, which is quite popular in terms of its storyline. It's the story of Elisha as a miracle worker. He first helps a woman whose sons are going to be collected by a debtor by providing her with oil and growing the stock that she has already in the house by inviting her to take more empty vessels from her neighbors that she can fill up with oil and then sell that to pay off the creditors. In the second miracle of the Haftorah, Elisha meets a Isha Shunamit, a wealthy woman who provides him with food and lodging, and in return, he provides her or blesses her that she will have a child. Tragically, the child dies, and in a miraculous kind of CPR moment, Elisha revives the child and he lives. So let's look at a few of the psukim here as I try to share screen in order to appreciate some of the linguistic links between our Parsha and our Haftorah. Here goes. So the first link has to do with the chesed of Avraham and the chesed of Elisha. Just as Avraham provides the Melachim who are hungry and without provisions with food, so too Elisha provides this woman, this widow, with the funds she needs to pay off her creditor. So there's a parallel in terms of the chesed, but it goes even deeper in the second episode, which is a second link in the form of the chesed being specifically one of hachnasat orchim. Just as Abraham welcomes the 3 strangers into his tent and rushes to provide them with lechem, as we see in the first pasuk here, ve'ekcha pat lechem, he says, I'm going to give you food to sustain and provide you with sustenance. So too, Elisha, when he is sojourning across the land, the Isha Shunamit says that she provides him with le'echol lechem, with not just food, but also a place to sleep and rest, just as Abraham also provides the angels a place to rest. So we see the specific manifestation of Chesed Abraham through Hachnasat Orchim being mirrored by Elisha. Moving on to the third link, both Abraham and the Isha Shunamit receive news of them having a child in their old age, the message is quite symmetrical. When the angels give Abraham and Sarah the news, they say, Ke'et chaya, when we return in a year's time, you will be parents. Similarly, Elisha uses the same terminology. As I scroll down here, I'm going to highlight this and point to it. The Ke'et chaya is used in order to relay the message to the Isha Shunamit. Why does Elisha use this style? It is intentionally intertextual because this Isha Shunamit, who was wealthy and well educated, of course knew how the news of a child coming to Sarah was communicated and felt uplifted by this hyperlink that Elisha was using to treat this Isha Shunamit like she was Sarah Imenu, and she feels elevated by that reference. So the chesed is one of thoughtfulness. A fourth connection, and we'll conclude with this one, is that the Isha Shunamit is in disbelief that she will have a child because of the state of her body given her age, just as Sarah laughs and is in disbelief about the news that she will give birth to Yitzchak when her and Abraham are very old and not as physically fit to engage in procreation. Now, at the end of the story, both of the stories, to add a little bit of a fifth link, produce a son that has a near-death experience. Yitzchak with the Akedah, and the child of the Isha Shunamit seems to be choking or have some kind of suffocation that is then resuscitated by Elisha's mouth-to-mouth and body-to-body CPR, where we see that sort of miracle and medical intervention have a very fine line between them. But all in all, we see that our Haftorah mirrors our Parsha in many ways that helps us appreciate how the efforts of Abraham had a ripple effect across generations to come. And as Bnei Abraham, we should continue to be Gomlei Chesed, to be bestowing kindness to people in thoughtful ways. Wish everyone a wonderful rest of your day.